Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another mildly interesting video. Anime has successfully created a group of people who fall in love with people who don't exist, like ghosts in a way. But one anime decided to take it a step further. What if an anime which consists of people who aren't real already has a character who isn't real within that anime, like, say, a ghost? I can't believe it took me this long to check this anime out, considering that I have had my eye on this anime for quite a while. I mean, it's a thriller, it's a comedy, it's a supernatural mystery with a ghost in the center of it all, paired with a romance with a little bit of spice. Please stop. I figured I gotta watch this as soon as possible. It took me 2 months to actually get into it. But that's enough foreplay, so let's cut to the chase. Now, first off, as expected from an anime surrounding a ghost and her mystery of why she is here and how she died, it gets dark and horrific at times. And the anime manages to capture that horror aspect, the dark hallways, the claustrophobic settings, and the pretty great sound design. The execution is definitely a strong suit for this anime. And there's also one more unique thing about the show that it does to further capture that horror. It ditches traditional blocking in favor of literally changing the aspect ratio at times to capture how jarring the changes are. Normally, shows would use the setting and the object in the setting to trap the characters in tight spaces, which feels more natural, and there's nothing wrong with that kind of blocking and framing. Some of the best scenes that I've seen use this to great effect, like the crawl space scene in Breaking Bad. But this show, while it does use some aspects of it, will for the most part change the framing of the whole episode itself, giving it a studio shaft feel. Entire frames will have huge sections blacked out, trapping the characters in usually misshapen framing. Something is clearly wrong over there, and the characters have become way too deep into them. It enhances the suspense and the horror in a visually unique way, in my opinion, especially considering all of the supernatural occurrences happening inside the school building. Now, speaking of supernatural occurrences, let's talk about the poster ghost girl, Yuko. When we first see her, all she is playful, teasing, fun, childlike, and all that other positive stuff. You would roll your eyes at those kinds of character traits, and I did at first because it comes off as a bland, boring, Genki girl who is head over heels over our main protagonist because he can see her as a normal girl and not much of anything else. But she doesn't come off as boring. Quite the contrary, she was a joy to watch because of how cheerful she could be despite the dark depths that the show could and did get into. And what surprised me even further was when they addressed this flat characterization of Yuko in episode 7, and it turned into a key aspect of the mystery as to why she is the way she is. Partially to explain why she's a ghost and why she acts that way, as well as a clue into how she died. And I'm not going to spoil that aspect for you, but it was a very welcome surprise. And from that point on, Yuko became so much more interesting than she was before. Now, to be fair, I would have gladly watched her goofing around a paranormal investigation club as a ghost. In fact, that was what I mostly signed up for. I didn't really care about the mystery aspect that much at first, and I thought they would just move it to the side to focus more on being a slice-of-life series. But no, they turned her characterization into a clue and an important piece in explaining why she is a ghost and why she is still on Earth. Now, on the other hand, you have the rest of the Paranormal Investigation Club. Our main protagonist, Teiichi, is so boring because we don't see anything special about him. In fact, he is literally more boring than a Weet-Bix bar. Even that could be an understatement. Did you know they actually had to invent the concept of zero to describe how much flavor these things have? Besides him being the first one to be able to see our poster ghost girl, we don't see what else is unique about him that has Yuko falling head over heels with him. And once it's revealed that Kyrie can see Yuko too as a normal girl, that specialty of his is gone. I don't feel any particular way about Teiichi. We genuinely don't learn anything about him that makes him unique from the other romance protagonists out there, besides being the first one to be able to see Yuko as a normal girl. Now, Kyrie does get the better cut of this because she is suffering from her own insecurities of not being enough for Teiichi. Yes, for some reason, she's also in love with Teiichi. But she doesn't have the figure of Okonogi and Yuko, and we can very clearly see that Yuko and Teiichi are very close to each other up to that point. And it's brought up a few more times, but understandably, it's sidelined in favor of the mystery aspect of the show. But at least, she does get some characterizations that prevent her from being such a boring... And then you have Okonogi, and her character is also in love with Teiichi for some reason and also has a better figure than Kyrie does, and also she's an airheaded idiot. I'm pretty sure those two mean the same thing. And that's really the only characterization that she gets as a person, which sucks. At least they did something with Kyrie in the earlier episodes before the show picked up its pace, delving into the central mystery. Like, yes, all of that characterization is mostly sidelined in favor of the central mystery at hand, but at least she got something. Now, speaking of the central mystery at hand, it's actually quite simple. Find out why Yuko died and why she's still on Earth. And to do this, they investigate the 7 school mysteries because everyone loves the number 7. Like, seriously, pick a better number. What about 49? It's 7 times the amount of 7 in 49. It starts off pretty formulaic. The club investigates a mystery in the school, and obviously it's a dud because it's way too early in the anime for that to happen. Teiichi and Yuko then get closer, Okonogi gets scared with some good old trickle physics for the mandatory fan service, with us delving a bit into Kyrie's insecurities as she tries to be brave, while also feeling like she's not good enough for Teiichi. Why are you all falling for a literal wheat mix bar? The only reason I kept watching was because of the great relationship between Teiichi and Yuko. You can really feel the chemistry with each other, and I have no idea why Yuko was trying to give a 12-year-old kid a hard-on. I don't think he even knows what that means. But each episode also had an intriguing mystery to it, with the one sticking out to me the most being episode 6, which had the school devolve into something so terrifying and so unrealistic that it became the most entertaining out of these episodic mysteries. Ultimately, however, you know that they are false leads because we're not even past the halfway point. You really think they're going to reveal the mystery right then and now? No, they're not going to. But once we do get to that halfway point, the mystery aspect really ramps up. We get reveal after reveal, clue after clue, piece after piece, with shocking revelations and developments which I'm not going to spoil, and it all comes to a head in episode 9, with, to be honest, fairly disappointing way of revealing the shocking truth of how Yuko died. The question is answered, and it is a pretty shocking answer, but the way that that information is presented makes it feel so significant. So even with the powerful visual presentation of episode 10, it feels a bit redundant because it's just repeating the same information that we had received from the literal previous episode. Now yes, the presentation is more powerful because we see Yuko's side of the story. We literally see her point of view. But at that point, it's not powerful enough that it really sticks with me. I feel like if they had simply cut out that part in episode 9 where the truth is revealed and instead revealed it through episode 10, it could have been way more powerful because now the show isn't repeating information and we don't know what is going to happen next. In episode 10, we are simply just waiting for the thing to happen, which it does, and it does leave a bit of a powerful impact on you, but how much more powerful could it have been if we didn't know what was going to happen, when Yuko's fate was still left open-ended, and now we know that we're going to get the answers through that episode? I feel like that could have been so much better. They could have handled that reveal so much more strong. Now, after all of that mystery and thriller stuff comes to an end in episode 11 with every question and loose end tied up, we get a denouement through episode 12, which had such a strong, beautiful ending. I didn't expect them to go down that route, but they did. And it was so heartbreaking and so beautiful, and it was such a perfect ending for the anime. Until some writer pressed Control Z. The literal last minute of that episode robs us of all of that emotion that we had just felt throughout the episode and just makes us go, okay. They had such a perfect ending for the show, only for them to literally undo all of that just for a happier ending, which is so disappointing. I feel like they could have made that ending great again by just literally cutting out the final minute of the finale, which would have given the ending ambiguity. And from there, the viewer could decide on what the ending is. And I'm not going to spoil it, but at this point, I can tell what the general gist of it is. So overall, Dusk Maiden tries to do a little bit of everything, but falls short of greatness. A great plot twist and reveal is ruined by having the characters verbally say it instead of showing it visually, which they do in the next episode. A perfect ending is ruined by the very last minute of that episode. A group of theoretically interesting characters is ruined by shallow and at times non-existent characterization. But the mix of all of those things with the unique presentation and strong execution make this a huge, worthwhile watch. And there is no perfect time to go check this out than right now in Middle-earth. Now that fall is here, the leaves are red, and winter is coming! Could you tell?